Second breakfast. Who's in the house for second breakfast and magic cards here? It's May the 4th. We got stuff and things to talk about. Tommy Siddons, how you doing, brother? Nice to see you. We got a show. Let's do it. May the 4th be with you. Tommy Siddons sitting in this morning for a little bit of magic card discussion. Thanks for joining me, Tommy. It's May the 4th. It's Star Wars Day. You're going to hear that a lot. There's going to be all kinds of people cracking jokes about Star Wars Day. Second breakfast. Maybe head out and get yourself a tropical fruit mix. Drink, maybe a booster juice or something delicious for second breakfast. But I want to say thanks, Tommy, for joining us. Maybe head on down, get yourself a mango fat, and enjoy a little bit of magic card discussion with me here this morning. It's Friday. Why can't you count on Yoda to pick up the bar tab? Because he's always a little short. All right, let's do it. We got some laughs and giggles here this morning. We're going to do a little bit of a show here. Special edition. We've got some headlines for you folks today. Yes. Got a good one. Star Wars The Gathering. How about that? Let's take a look here, folks. Have you heard of this? I guess there's a group of folks that Star Wars The Gathering has played the same rules as a popular card game, Magic the Gathering, and focuses on a rich and flavorful draft environment starring your favorite characters and locations from a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Yes, in fact, if you haven't seen this, Star Wars The Gathering, there's a site here, Card Gallery. Let's have a peek at this. Fairly interesting. Oh, check out the card back. Let's get the chat working here this morning. Make sure that's working all right. Well, we're checking out Star Wars The Gathering. Have you ever heard of Star Wars The Gathering? Let me know. Second breakfast. Thanks for joining me for second breakfast this morning. Let's take a look at the back of this. Jedi Master. I like the card back. It's pretty cool. Cosmic Seeds in the house. How you doing? Someone's finally live. This seems fun. It does seem fun. Have you guys been to Star Wars The Gathering? Check it out. StarWarsTheGathering.com for free printables, a pack generator for drafting, and even online play. I'm going to put a link in the description for you folks if you haven't checked it out already. Let's take a look at some of the cards. Cantina Band 01. This one is the Cantina Band. For white mana, you get Bith 01. It even has flavor text on it. Does anyone have any requests? Yeah, play that song one more time. Cantina Band. What's that? Petit déjeuner par deux. Mais oui, c'est le petit déjeuner par deux. All right, let's look at the Cantina Band. It says to itself. All right, get out of here, you Cantina Band. On to the next. Look at this one. Gifted Initiate. All right, we got something for you folks here. A white 2/1 human monk. No, human Jedi. Gifted Initiate. It's got the rebel symbol on it. So people are actually like making these cards. They're designing. This looks super fun, right? Check out the set symbol here. Right? Very nice. Very nice. Pretty cool. Very wholesome looking magic card. Let's see what we get for a 2/1 for 2 mana. A white and 1. You get this Gifted Initiate. When it enters the battlefield, you may tap Target white creature and gifted initiate. You can meditate, which costs you 1 white and 1. Return this creature to its owner's hand. Meditate only as a sorcery. Ah, it's got blink on it. Pretty cool. All right, what else we got here? Let's make sure the volume's... How's the audio this morning? Little tinny, I noticed yesterday. Little tingy. Little tinny. Did I say tinny or Timmy? Perhaps. A little bit of both. What else we got here from this Jedi the Gathering? Ion Cannon. 4/4. Artifact creature construct for a white and... let's give it... This is obviously just fine. Yeah, let's get the dinger going. Why not? I mean, I don't even want to look at AI-generated magic cards. These are way better. These are way better than AI-generated magic cards. They look like real magic cards. Defender 4/4. Target creature an opponent controls loses space flight until end of turn. A weapon that neutralizes all power to our ships, leaving the targets defenseless. Plo Koon. Little flavor text on their Jedi Inquirer, 1 white and 2. So they have a draft pack generator. This is human Jedi for 2 and white. Creature human, 2/2. When Inquirer leaves the battlefield, you may exile target enchantment. And this one meditates as well. Good morning, call me 3. Good morning, call me 3/1. And what else, what about this? Jedi Instructor. They get bigger. A 4/4 for a white and 4. It's a Twi'lek Jedi. When Jedi Instructor enters the battlefield, you may put a +1/+1 counter on another target creature, and it also meditates. So noticing a recurring theme here in the meditate with the white creatures. We've also got Nebulon B Frigate. Starship? Like, that seems pretty good. Space Flight. Okay, this is the one I wanted to see. Space Flight. So what does this mean? This is in the Future Sight border, so that looks pretty cool. It's also a white card. It's costing 3 colorless and 2 white for the Nebulon Frigate. Artifact creature Starship. And it's got space flight. Let's see what that is. I guess it's different than flying, right? I guess creatures with... Yeah, it's like an extra layer of flying. Wow. So they've actually gone ahead and made... let's read it. This creature can only block or be blocked by creatures with space flight. Yeah, okay. Very cool. And then when Nebulon B Frigate enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain vigilance until end of turn. Interesting, interesting, interesting. I like it. How are you doing? 6 of us joining us. Have you folks heard of Star Wars The Gathering? I'll put a link in the description below for you folks. This is so we're looking at the card gallery for those of you just tuning in at home. It's May the 4th. Happy petit déjeuner partout. Le matin, ici au Canada, nous avons besoin de partir. We gotta go. I gotta look at this. Let's check it out. If you want to play it, they've even got a booster pack. There's 3 ways to play. Let's go over the rules. 3 ways to play. There's print at home, and if you're a fan of the Brody Alfonso Petit Déjeuner, but if you're a fan of the kitchen table, print booster packs at home with a pack generator. Over here, you can build up some decks if you want our PDFs for home printing. Print and cut them out and slide them into the front of the sleeve of the card before challenging your best friend to a Star Wars showdown. You can also play online. So they got 3 ways to play. They've got online play over at the subreddit Star Wars The Gathering SWTG. And that's where you can find free digital download for the set to play with other Star Wars fans online. So I guess there is actually a client. And professional printing, the best way to play when you want your cards to look and feel like real Magic cards. We've created a higher resolution image made with bleed edges for professional factory 300 DPI printing. You can order a printing of the Star Wars The Gathering Draft Cube here. There's a link here. right where Brody's head is at. For printing at a different printer instead, you can click the link above. You can download the files below. They've even got these expansion sets, including the Last Jedi, Rogue One, The Force Awakens, Solo, and Rebels. How about that? Not too pretty bad. Have you heard of it? Is this the first time you've seen it? Let me know in the post, in the comments. I gotta ask. Yeah, you bet I did, Bob. I slept through the alarm today. Let me know if you've ever heard of Star Wars The Gathering beforehand. You know, an interesting concept when you're speaking about this is Commander Raids. So if you could imagine, you could start to get into some of these themes, right? I did, Bob. I got your text message. Thanks for checking on me, buddy. I appreciate it. So if you haven't heard of Star Wars The Gathering before, please let me know. Hit up the comments there. I'm going to put a link to it. If you guys want to get some fun into your Magic the Gathering collection, this may just be a way to do it. If you want to do it this May the 4th, I think there's going to be lots of people participating in this. You can print some of your own online cards, including the cards from the gallery here that we're going to be checking out in a little bit. And you can also take a look at their home site. They've got lots of stuff, including many expansions from The Last Jedi, Rogue One, Force Awakens, and Solo. How cool is that? Which website did Chewbacca create to share Empire secrets? WikiLeaks. Oh, yesterday was National Free Press Day, if you didn't know. It is. It's a big day where we want to make sure we include the free press and encourage the freedom of expression. Yeah, it's a fact. Yesterday was Free Press Day, and today is Star Wars Day. This is the show where you can talk about Magic the Gathering, share your thoughts and opinions. I share my thoughts and opinions here on the show. You can too. All are welcome here. Let's take a look at a little bit of this Star Wars The Gathering. I'm actually excited because this is something really cool. Thank you, Mrs. Alfonso, for bringing us something fun and exciting to discover here together on the show. We're going to run your movers and the shakers here today. It's Thursday, May the 4th. It's Legacy Day, so that's pretty great. I can't wait to do that with you folks. Let's look at a few more of these cards here because there's just too much good stuff to leave behind. All right, Cantina Band. Do they have them all here? Jedi Inquirer. We've got Space Flight. This Loyal Tauntaun. Sacrifice Loyal Tauntaun, regenerate target creature. Seems fitting. The flavor's pretty decent. I never heard of this until Miss Alfonso shared it with me. Troopers you control have vigilance. Sand Trooper. What I was saying is, like, with Commander Raids and the themed towards the Star Wars or any other type of intellectual property, you could have like a boss, like, okay, we're going to take on the Death Star, right? That would be pretty interesting. What do you think, Gaming Bob? I sort of thought about that, you know, if you played a team version of this against like the Death Star. Or part of my ignorance, why can't we join your channel? Is it some requirements like Twitch? I don't understand. What, you can join the channel. Why can't we join your channel? Is it like some requirements like Twitch? I don't know. No, it shouldn't be some call me 3-1. You should be or like join like a membership or something. Because I don't have that. So I don't know what you mean. Please explain. It's funny. You should. I think you could just subscribe. How do you join the channel? I think you need to be monetized to be able to do that. We're just a little channel. Some call me 3-1. Kind of interested to know, can you not subscribe? I guess that's the question, because we're always hoping for new subscribers, looking for new viewers. So yeah, let me know what's the issue there. Maybe hit me up on Discord. I'll give you a link to the Discord. I'll send you the Discord invite. Boom. Or maybe that's it. Why can't we join your channel? You can join the channel. Is that what you... I don't know. Hey, Prime 406, how you doing, buddy? We're taking a look at Star Wars The Gathering. This is the release edition. If you guys want to have a little fun, you can print these out. Security Droid. Let's check this card out. 1/1 artifact creature droid for a white and 1. When it enters the battlefield, you get to create a 1/1 colorless droid artifact creature token. So it comes with 2. There's a pair of them. It's like essentially like the Mog War Marshal for white, right? It doesn't have an echo cost, but it does have repair, which is kind of neat. Repair is 3. I don't know what it does, but let's find out together. When this creature dies, put 3 repair counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove a repair counter. When the last is removed, you may cast it from your graveyard until end of turn. That's super cool mechanic. I like it. Let's go with it. That's a pretty cool mechanic for a security droid. Got a meeting in a minute. We'll let those folks know at the meeting there, Tommy, that there's Star Wars The Gathering, and then use the printer to print out the cards so you guys can enjoy this at your workplace. Let's go look at another one, a Womp Rat. We were swapping Womp Rats back in... This can't be harder than hitting shooting Womp Rats in my speeder. Womp Rat has got Monstrosity, and it's a 3/2 with a white and 2 to cast it. 1 white and 4 to give it Monstrosity 1. If it isn't monstrous, you put a 1/1 counter on it. It becomes monstrous. When Womp Rat becomes monstrous, you may exile target card from a graveyard. So it pitches something out of the graveyard. Oh, and some X-Wings. I hope this is a vehicle. Yes, it's good to see. Anybody here play... let's see here. Anybody heard of this? Let's check it out. End the poll. We got 4 votes. Nobody's heard of Magic Star Wars The Gathering. Anybody play the Star Wars TCG game? I don't know. I played it a little bit. We tried getting into it when Magic was around, just coming out. I think Magic was out for 2 or 3 or 4 years, and then we got a Star Wars TCG, and then we had Netrunner. That was another one that we got. Netrunner. We got the Star Wars TCG and Magic all around the same time. And people were actually playing Netrunner. Because it was like, it had so much hope for longevity, because it was like at the back of the cards. Like, I don't know if anybody knows this. Some people probably do. The back of the Netrunner card, like you see how this says Jedi Master? So the back of the Netrunner card had this Deck Master on the back of it. And the story goes, from the way I heard it, is that Deck Master was going to be the sort of the blanket brand for these trading card games that were getting developed. Magic the Gathering, and they were all going to bear the Deck Master logo on the back of the card. Let's see, Netrunner. So I think that's how we... Netrunner card back. Yeah, let's look at the back of the Netrunner card, because I think that's where we got that. Yeah, right here. See? Here's a Netrunner card. If you ever looked at a back of the Netrunner card, it's got Deckmaster on it, right? This one. Let's look at this one. See? Deckmaster. So, like, I think this is what the idea was like to create a Magic the Gathering card game under the Deckmaster brand, and then all the Deckmaster games would be sort of under one umbrella. Magic would be under the Deckmaster brand. It didn't work out that way. And that's why everybody was hopeful. A lot of people were hopeful Netrunner would be something good. So like the Deckmaster logo appearing, and then hence the Jedi Master logo appearing here. But hence the Jedi Master or the Deckmaster logo that was appearing. Yeah, so the story goes, but Netrunner, so around that same time, we got the Star Wars TCG. That's Star Wars trading card game. I think it's funny because it didn't last very long. Oh, Star Wars, the trading card game, is an out-of-print collectible card game by Wizards of the Coast. The original game was created by the game designer Richard Garfield. The first modern trading card game, Magic: The Gathering, was initially released. Yeah, so there was a trading card game, but this really makes me think of that. And I remember seeing you could have your wings, right? You could have your X wings, you could have your Y wings, you could have your different wings. And then like to see the X-Wing card, because like they were really different. They were really good. You wanted to be playing the X-Wings if you were with the Rebels. So there was like, you could be the dark side. I don't think that's the same card back as we had, because you had the dark side and then you had the light side. You had two different card backs depending on what side you were playing. You wouldn't mix cards back and forth. It'd be they're all dark card backs and all light card backs, and somebody had to play. I think you had to play opposites. I think somebody had to be black. It was like chess. Somebody had to be black, somebody had to be white, somebody had to be the light side, somebody had to be the dark side. I think Jihad was also produced by them in Deckmaster. Really? Wait, that card isn't real, right? Yeah, Tartufel, we're on Star Wars The Gathering. There's a website here that we're checking out, and they have something pretty cool here for everybody. I put a link in the comment section, but this is I'll put a link in the Discord as well. If you guys want to check it out, for sure. It's a game that was basically, well, let's see what they say. Yeah, it was created and developed with the same rules as Magic: The Gathering, and it's like player driven. Like these players. Oh wow, there's even more factions. Let's look at this. It focuses on flavorful draft environments starring your favorite characters and locations for a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So this is like printable. You print them off in proxies. So there's the Jedi Order. Okay, so they've got different factions with the different color pairings. So green, white, blue, which would be like the Bant, Selesnya. Yeah, okay, this goes into the Jedi Order. Then the Separatists is white, blue, black. And then the Sith Empire is red, black, blue. Pretty cool. What other we got? We've got the Bounty Hunters. Hello, Garen Jotter. Check this out. You're going to like this. The Bounty Hunters, including Boba Fett. That's like Jund, right? It's like some Jund is the Bounty Hunters. Woohoo. Where's my Bounty Hunters shirt? I should have that on today. Shout out to the MTG Bounty Hunters. Okay, it turns out the Bounty Hunters are Jund. That's awesome. The Wild, so Naya, I guess, is the Wild. And Trooper Lion, that's Wooburg. That's like Trooper Legion. That's everything. All 5 colors. That's like the Omnath, right? Troopers you control get 2-0. Yes, that's what I meant. I figure you are putting in your time. Oh, yeah, like, I don't have the memberships. So you can't join the channel. It's just because I don't have it. I'm too small. It's like, we need more subscribers. So once we get more subscribers, I think that comes available. And then you can join. Thanks for asking. Let's check this out. Trooper Legion. Yeah, we're not that popular. Brody's not that popular. We're quality. Oh, see, the thing is quality over quantity. I like to think, and I know this, that we have like the best quality of viewers in the world, right? Best subscriber base, best group, best quality, highest quality fans of Magic the Gathering, connoisseurs of fine cardboard, exquisite intricacies. Let's check out the Trooper Legion is Woobird all colors. Able to pull from all 5 colors, the Trooper Legion is everywhere. Each trooper has an effect on that strengthens all your troopers on the battlefield. Grow your Legion, and you will become a powerful, unrivaled throughout the galaxy. The bounty hunters watch who you cross in this galaxy, or underworld ruffians will hunt you down as wanted prey. Hunters receive a handsome payoff for seeing to their bounty meeting and accelerated demise. And then the wild, so yeah, you can play the Jedi. There's these different factions. Okay, so this is something I hope you folks will get a chance to do it. If you guys are, have access to a printer, you can print some of these off. So you get some of these factions. It's supposed to create this is like a player-made game. I don't think this has anything to do with WotC. Maybe they have a license. I don't know. Let's see. This site is not affiliated with right here at the bottom. Right here it is. This site is not affiliated with Wizards of the Coast, LLC, Hasbro, or Lucasfilms. This is a fan-made site and is used for entertainment purposes. T&M of Lucasfilms, Wizards of the Coast, a subsidiary of Hasbro. So this is like for information, right? But these players, they came up with all these cards. It's pretty cool. They've got a console to play on online. They got print at home. So if you want to play and print it off, and then you can get them professionally printed if you want the cube. There's a link to a cube here. So let's put that in the let's put that on the Discord, because that's something cool. If you guys want to hit me up on the Discord, there's a place to do it. Let's go Brody Alfonso server. Let's just put it in there. Star Wars The Gathering. Guys, check that out. Oops. Didn't want to boost. All I want to do is talk Magic cards here this morning. So the X-Wing, really stoked with the X-Wing. Spaceflight gains vigilance until end. For a white, it gains vigilance. It's got spaceflight, so we've got the spaceflight mechanic introduced. So it's another evasion. It's like horsemanship. Can't be blocked or be blocked by creatures that don't have it. The spaceflight mechanic is like an extra flight, right? Kind of cool. I kind of like that. And then arrest. What else? I really liked that about the Star Wars TCG, because you had the X-Wings, the Y-Wings, the Star Destroyers, the TIE Fighters. You had Vader's like fighter, his special TIE Fighter, and then you had like all the Rebel ships, and then you had the droids, and you could put the droids in the ships, and then like you had the dark side, and they had the Star Destroyers and all different types of ships that you could put out there and build your battlefield, attack your opponent. And then like I think you had pilots as well. You could have like the hand-to-hand guy. They'd have power and toughness. Kind of from what I recall, like I played it a handful of times. We used to keep them in plastic bags. Look at this one, arrest. Enchant creature can't attack or block. Its activated abilities can't be activated. It's like a pacifism. Escape pod. Exile target creature control. Return that card to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of the next end step. And force healing. Prevent the next 4 damage that be dealt to target creature or player this turn. Scry 1. That's even better than healing salve. It's healing salve with a scry 1 on it. Like it. So yeah, you can get all this stuff. It's free. You can just go download it. I think they have professional printing there, and as an option if you want to buy the cube. So pretty cool. Star Wars The Gathering. Thank you folks for joining here this morning. We're going to go on to your movers and the shakers here this morning. May the 4th be with you, folks, here today. It's May the 4th, 2023. Who could tell it was going to be such an interesting year? It's getting to be a bit nicer out. The days are getting warmer, and the daylight is getting a little longer. Where's the best place to shop for lightsabers? The Darth Mall. And why do doctors make the best Jedi? Because they must have patience. Let's get on to your movers and shakers here this morning. Let's check it out. Here we're doing Legacy. Why not? Legacy is the place to be here this morning on Thursday, as we like to do things. Moving in your seat and shaking at your feet. Brody's got something sweet to discuss here on the Legacy list and the movers and the shakers. Thanks for joining, everybody. We got Tommy Siddons in the house. Some call me 3. Twiddler's here hanging out for second breakfast this morning. We're doing some polls. We're looking at some AI generated, some real human generated Star Wars cards. Really creative. No flops there. Tommy Siddons joining us here. We're looking at the movers and the shakers. Top of the pile here, Legacy. I get to look at some old stuff here. I love Thursdays because I can't stand not checking out the Legacy list in the mornings. It drives me wild to not look at the Legacy list and like giving fair shake to modern, pioneer, pauper, Legacy, and then we get into the vintage and old school on Friday for the recap. But this is kind of like where I like to be. I used to look here and only here because where's the money, Brody? Where is the money, bro? It's down there somewhere, I'm sure. Let me just take a look for it. Where's the money, Brody? I'm pretty sure it's down there somewhere. Let me have another look for it. Okay, let's hear it for the movers and the shakers on Thursday. The Legacy list. I like this force field card. Good card. I think an Alan Cahoon is saving up for this one. This is on his radar. This is a cool card. Decent card, I'd say. The counterpart of this, like if it's so $605. This is like the good one between this and the Jade Monolith. Okay, for 3 mana artifacts that were printed in alpha, beta, and then again in unlimited, there's no revised copies of this. There is no revised. This is on the reserve list. You can't get it in anything newer than you can't get it in anything newer than unlimited. So that's pretty much how it goes. Hey, greetings, Alpha Hoarders up. Nice to see you, Mike. Have you guys seen Star Wars The Gathering? We were just looking at that a little while ago. If you're just tuning in, it's May the 4th, Star Wars Day. I got a link in the comment section. If you guys want to go there and get yourself some Star Wars The Gathering cards, there's a really cool card gallery here that shows the cards you can get to play with your friends. Today on Thursday, on May the 4th. And now we're, just a little bit of a recap. But this card here, the Force Field, totally cool card. Let's go. 11% tick up in price. Is this real? This was like a reserve list card. So 3 mana rock. It's a card that it wasn't reprinted after in revise. And it was between this one and the Jade Monolith, right? So this is like the good one. This is like, let's look at the Jade, because like I can't look at the Force Field unless I look at the Jade Monolith, okay? The Jade Monolith got printing. Now this card's actually also seen a rise in price. It's going up a little bit. This one's $40 for the unlimited Jade Monolith. Now this was arguably like as far as redirect spells, you'd open this Jade Monolith as your rare in the unlimited set, or even this one got continued on getting printed in revised, but this was sort of like the redirect option, the cheaper, worse version of redirection of damage, the cheaper, worse version of the force field. We wanted the force field. Sometimes you ended up with the Jade Monolith. It costs 1. The next time a source of your choice would deal damage to target creature this turn, that source deals that damage to you instead. You're like, so I can just save my stuff with it? That seems way worse. And then there was this one. I think these are poly artifact. Yeah. 3 mana for the force field. And this one's like way better. For the same activation cost of 1 mana, you get to activate this thing that says the next time an unblocked creature of your choice would deal damage to you this turn, prevent that damage. So it's much better in early Magic the Gathering, and it's some people might say it's way better today. But it's as good as it's ever been. Now let's just take a look. It doesn't do anything other than that. This Jade Monolith was kind of bad and sucked, but now like it's actually taking a tick up in price because there's ways to make this useful. So if you want my opinion, like there's always cheaper versions of cards that kind of do the same thing. But if you want to get an unlimited poly artifact, and maybe you got your eye on that force field, and there's like a hard way to get there. You might, like, for the $600 we're asking on force field, like you could for a small $40 down payment, you can find yourself Jade Monolith and Unlimited. And this card's actually become good with Darian, King of Keldor. And Darian's a sweet card, and Darian's even getting some more support in the new sets via flavor. So that's a white creature that says whenever you're dealt damage, you may create that many 1/1 soldier tokens. Darian, I think M25 and Cold Snap, yeah, it's a $44 foil. It's a decent card. So I can't help but think that like the monolith is cheap now because it's going up. It's cheap compared to the force field because that's what everybody would compare it to. But now there's outside uses for the Jade Monolith, and force field just does what it does. It can save your butt if playing against Merit Lage and somebody's just trying to make a 20/20 and crack you in the face for it. It's pretty decent that way. If you make a March of Machines type deck where you're turning artifacts into creatures with power and toughness equal to their casting cost, it's pretty cool. You can make it a 3/3, and it still has this great ability on it that lets you just take 1 damage from an unblocked creature. All right, so like one other little Easter egg here, if you guys are new to Magic. Anybody tuning in new to Magic, I hope there's some new to Magic players, and we're always looking to get some fun into our day, right? So like I like looking at the Easter eggs. There's an Easter egg in this card by way of Mox Jet. So if you look at the Jet here for a minute, you can actually put these two cards together, and the art actually on the card by Dan Fraser, they join together and you can see that Easter egg just here. If I point to it, where's Brody's pencil? Yeah, you point to it right here. This color, it looks like always looks like a gobstopper, right? It looks like a gobstopper. Historian, thanks for joining, Mike. May the sun be on your face and the wind at your back. I hope to see you online over at your place. Safe adventures. Opal, I recall, is a cutout, so I bet this is 2. Opal is a cutout? May your hammer be mighty. Yes. Yeah, so Mike the Alpha Hoarder, thanks for joining here as well to you. May your hammer be mighty and smashy. may your hammer be the smashiest one. May your lightsaber cut, and may it cut deeper than within the dark saber. On May the 4th be with you. All right, so we're looking at this card. It's pretty good. $605. I know some folks that are looking to get a copy of it. It's this damage prevention that sailed it to the top of its class in the unlimited version of printing of cards. Again, this is a cool card. We see it alpha beta as well. Ooh, look at the color on the alpha and the beta. Really nice black border. $1,200 and $1,500. Ooh. Okay, so like, how do we get there, right? This is going to be a lot of work to get there. But like, I mean, why not buy, like, I think at this point, the Jade Monolith, over time, I mean, I know that the force field is what it is. It's always going to be great. But I think the Jade Monolith has a potential to close the gap and close the price gap between the force field and the Jade Monolith, because there's been like big disparity there, because the redirection comparison is there's no argument. It's strictly worse. But with other cards, it can probably change that in the future. So what I'm trying to say here is get yourself 2 copies of the Jade Monolith, and then just give it some time. Maybe you could be trading that in on a force field down the road and still keep one copy of the Jade Monolith for your collection, right? So wait till that price cap closes. If you want to pick an unlimited version card, like unlimited to unlimited, I would want both regardless, but getting a copy of the force field is going to be a little bit tougher because it's expensive. Let's look at the chart on it. Going back all the way. Oh, see, it was sitting at about $100 bill for the longest time, even around Origins right here. It's like costs $1.25 or $1.50. So like that's pretty neat. But like we look at this here. Let's get our where's Brody's pencil? Brody's magic pen. Yeah, a tick up in price around Ixalan. That's when we hit the $400 mark, and there was some reserve list buyouts, $450. Then we have just a tickle over sideways and a bump up on Double Masters. C'est de bon, the Double Master, the deuxième breakfast de matin. Took a bump up in price, and then now this sucker, like, this is another card that, like, be patient, and if this is the one that you're waiting to go on sale, when it's, like, long term, we're into the second quarter of the year. We've had the earnings report for the first one. Everybody at Hasbro is like giving themselves big old pats on the back because they did so well with Modern Horizons 2. And the most selling, absolutely the most selling set that you have ever seen in your life in Magic the Gathering. And they're all hyping up the next one in Lord of the Rings. All right, let's talk stocks this morning. One copy available at the vendor store for $359. So later in November, if we start to, like, you'll know it's getting serious. Like at the end of this month, hey, how you doing, Brody? Greets from your Dutch friend. Thanks for joining, Savannah Lion. You're doing a banger job, bro. Keep it up. More people finding their way here. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate you for the encouragement. It's good. It's good. You got to beat me. You guys got to beat a guy up a little bit every once in a while. It makes you tougher. Right? It's all right. All right. I'm a big guy. I can take it. Let's see here. $350. Let's check out the light plate copy. Maybe you're a friend of Anger Collections and you want to head over to TCG Player, but they're listing about $700. $700. That's the medium on $650. Yeah, $700 to $600 to $700 over at TCG Player. The Card Kingdom and the big boy stores, they're selling it for $350. So that's probably the term secondary market. So like we were talking about corporatocracy the other day, this Monday and Tuesday, and what is a corporatocracy? That was the concept of being used to explain bank bailouts, excessive pay for CEOs, and as well as complaints such as the exploitation of national treasuries, people, and natural resources. It's been used by critics for globalization, sometimes in conjunction with the criticism of banks. And corporate rule is a common theme in dystopia. It's science fiction is what it is. It's science fiction. Let's just say what it is, Brody, right? It doesn't exist. But we're talking about corporatocracy, right? So you've got the big corporations, like the unionized card market sellers, right? The large ones, the Chanel Snowballs and the Card Paradise and all those. Back to work. Have a good one. No, I refuse. I'm putting my phone on silent. I'm just gonna tell everybody to call back later. Got to spend some time with you. So yeah, the disparity, just like the disparity between Jade Monolith and the Force Field card here, the disparity between the big like the Mox boarding house, La Boarding House de Mox, they're selling this card for $359. They have one, but TCG Player is more like it's like the Uber. It's like the Uber of Magic card dealing, right? Everybody's their own source. So you can start, and then eBay is another sort of in the middle somewhere because eBay takes a cut and it's using their platform to sell cards. So you got to You got to work up to levels. Like if I wanted to start selling on eBay, I couldn't just start tomorrow listing cards, expensive ones, for anything. I think they cap you at items over $999. I think that's the number. That's the number they cut you off at. So like the TCG player, where like the working man, like Anger collections, the working man who's got magic cards for the working man, Steamship, Mox Valley Games, StarCraft, and anybody selling over on TCG Player. You know, Timmy's Emporium can have a small store over on TCG Player, and, you know, do a good job and give yourself, you know, try and make a reputable shake at good quality evaluations of your own stuff, because everybody over there is going to be evaluating their own stuff. Whereas like the big stores like Chanel Snowball and Card Market Paradise, those ones, they have a whole group of people working there who are unionized, standardized grading within the store. I think, you know, they would have like the grading people. Certain people in the store will be the ones evaluating cards all the time. Less disparity and consistency. But we're starting to see more of a separation. When people talk about, oh, the secondary market, Brody, there's actually 2 secondary markets. There could even be 3 or 4 secondary markets. Maybe you guys know of some other ones that I'm not talking about here. We're moving into shaking here this morning. Moving into shaking. Get yourself some bacon. It's May the 4th. Let's get taking a look at some magic cards here today. What do we got here? Chains of Mephistopheles. You know how long it took me to be able to say this card? Chains is a wonderful thing. I sat down to play Chains against Chains of Mephistopheles in Commander once. I looked at it and said, holy moly, is that ever a funny looking... I think that's called a Baphomet, or just correct me if I'm wrong. It's some lordy art, isn't it? It's Heather Hudson who's brought this to us. This beast monster of some kind holding the chains up. This card's $1,317 and it's from Legends. It's expensive, super expensive. But what does it do for you, right? It's an enchantment. Enchanté, mes amis. It's an enchantment. Chains of Mephistopheles. It's like Memphis Stopheles. If you put those 2 words together, maybe you're from Memphis. If you have tough time saying it, Memphis, just take the second M out. Memphis. Toffeles. If you like some toffeltjes. Memphis toffeltjes. Sounds like a Dutch treat. Some poffertjes and some toffeltjes. All right. Enough about that. How to say it, how to play it. Let's do it. Enchantment card for a black and 1. It says, let's read the original, because that's the way we like it. OG. Every time a player draws a card, that player must first discard a card from his or her hand. If there are no cards in that player's hand, take the top card from the library and place it in the graveyard instead of drawing. What? This enchantment does not apply to the first card drawn by a player during the draw phase. So new wording. Had to make it a little bit more simplistic for the Brody mind. Too difficult to understand the old one. Okay, when drawing your second card, if a player would draw a card except for the first card they draw in each of their draw steps, that player first discards a card. So you get, anytime you draw a second card, you got to pitch one and then draw one. If you got no cards in your hand, you just mill, right? That's pretty much what happens. So this card's $1,300. It's really crazy. Let's talk about how to play against it a little bit. And let's talk about how to play with it. Anvil of Bogarden. You got to look at this, man. Anvil. Look at the card from Visions. Chains of Memphis Toffeltjes is on the reserve list. Anvil of Bogarden. Also on the reserve list, also costing 2 mana, and it's an artifact, so it's a little bit more suited to put into various decks. Let's check it out. Let's I gotta hit up I have some great chats coming through here. Okay, may your hammer be mighty from the Alpha Hoarder. Hey, goeiemorgen, goeiemiddag. Eli EL 15 months old. Nice. I'm holding my reservist purchases for another month or 2. I think the downfall isn't done yet. I agree. Back to work, folks. Enjoy your day. Keep working hard. Opal, I recall, is a cutout. So I bet this is 2. Got to get going. Later, Mike. All right, just checking on some chats here, making sure I don't miss anybody. Try to read all the chats when they come in. But we're talking about chains of Mephistopheles and how to use it, how to play it, how to abuse it, how to say it. Memphis Stoffeliers. This thing here says players have no max hand size. So this is a little bit more synergistic. It works on both sides of the table. The other thing is it's $42 instead of $1,400. So that kind of gets you into the card a little easier. It's also a reserve list, and I think it's going to be, well, long term. We'll look at that chart in a minute. But what does it do for us? It costs 2 mana. Okay, it gives us some, each player skipping their discard phase, excuse me. Each player skips his or her discard phase. So, discard phase. Now the new wording is players have no max hand size. So it doesn't prevent you from discarding, right? So you can still discard or make your opponents discard when this is on the table, but you cannot have a max hand size. You can have as many cards as you like. So when you fill that mitt, you get to keep it. That's right. You fill that mitt up, you draw 7. Did you draw an 8th card? You get to keep it. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card, then discards. Draw 2, then discard. So like a Howling Mine, it draws you 2, but you got to pick one. The Chains of Mephistopheles, that's the one. It says if you would, this one discard first, then draw. That one's draw 2, discard 1. So it's kind of a little nicer to play against. Putting this 2 together in a deck might be something. Let's look at the decks using it. This thing's been sending down in price since Kaldheim, down from $2,500. How cool is that? Just tripping its way down to the bottom of the reserve list. No, this is a banger. This is a hell of a card. It's a good card. So I would say this card's decent. This card's decent. It's not a reserve list junker. But look at the price here. Like, I'm just trying to get Brody's other tool here. Let's grab Brody's sealing tool. All right, sealing tool. Stock term of the day. Sealing, right? Sealing is like the most that you're willing to pay, or the market is willing to pay for a particular item. It could be orange juice. It could be gasoline. It could be like when the price of gasoline gets too high, people just say, screw it, I'm walking. Right? They cut costs. They share rides. They do other things. They say that the most I'll pay for gasoline is $5 a liter. And I'll tell you what, I came to this realization just the other day. I don't know if I'm totally based here, but maybe too much money is a problem. Maybe too much money is why we have the situation that we're doing right now with inflation, right? So like this thing, let me give an example. This thing cost at one time during Kaldheim, I guess it was selling, maybe there was some spikes or some price manipulation to make this thing look a little bit more expensive. $2,500. $2,500 for this card. So when people have lots, right? People get lazy with their spending and their savings, right? It's like, I will buy a very large truck. I want to put the biggest tires on it. I want to make a lot of extra horsepower and smoke. And I want to, just because I can. But when diesel costs like $5 a liter, then you don't have all that waste, right? So it's just a way of like tapping or cool, right? So unfortunately, like good people, working people, we see price hikes and everything else, but like too much money. Like there's a lot of young people with a lot of money. There is, this day and age, there's so much money printed and going around. Some people have lots of it. So, it just becomes a little bit reckless. Then inflation is a way that the old farts come along and they say, nope, enough fun. You young kids have too much money. We're going to raise the cost of everything. You're burning too much fuel for nothing. You're just being reckless. Let's tame down. It's like tapping the brakes on the entire economy, right? That's the difference between like $2,500 chains of Mephistopheles or like $1,300 chains of Mephistopheles, right? $2,500 Mephistopheles, that's like, this is good times. There's plenty of money to go around. We're, doing laps of the parking lot just for fun because gas is cheap, burning tires. And then like, we're heading this way where it's heading this direction. So how low will it go? Hard to say, but it's definitely, you can see its trajectory is like almost bottoming out. It could even take a, like, depending on, so like the ceiling, right? Where we're talking about the stock term, Brody's stock term of the day, ceiling. Ceiling is the most amount of money that you're willing to pay for anything, right? It's also can be called a resistance level, like where anything else of a particular commodity, a stock, anything that trades, this would be like a ceiling will be also referred to as a level of support, like where every time it gets that high, it just, all the people who have it sell it because it's like, it's their ceiling. They're like, I'm out. It's hot. You got to drop it like it's hot. It's too much money. So that's like the ceiling, right? So this thing's had a ceiling. It's never been above 2,000, and there's like no support for it at that level. It like hit the 2,000 once, and now it's coming down in price. And it's like, who knows when it's going to return there and then break through that ceiling to an upside. That could take a while. But this is no different than any other like stock term. Like we're got like I think this would be like a 50% downside, right? From the ceiling of $2,500. That's how you'd say it, right? It's come down from 2,500 to 13, so it could go to 1,250. That would be a 50% downturn in this chain of Mephistopheles since it's all-time high of $2,500. Deck's using it. You can get the Anvil of Bogart in a little less volatile. Maybe it's a cheaper card. You're not going to be so risky. If you bought in a chains at 2,500, that sucks. But eventually it could come back stronger. The Gitrog monster is using it. Zur the Enchanter, Sultai Dryads, Sultai Depths. Yes, see, in Legacy. I want to look at the Sultai Depths. Elvish Reclaimer, Dark Confident. So we got the Elfie Boy that becomes a 3/4, and then we got the Confident Boy that draws you cards. We got the Deep Root Wayfinder. This one is deep rooting its way into the history books. I don't know. Whenever Deep Root Wayfinder combat damage to a player or battle, surveil 1, and you may return a land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. To surveil 1, look at the top card of your library. You may put that card into your graveyard. The Vampire Hexmage, of course, and then we're going to have the lands deck. We're going to have the Dark Depths, right? This is making the 2020 Merit Lage. And like we talked about it earlier, like how I don't know, like I've tutored up the force field to prevent getting cracked in the face with this for 20 in a commander game. It's like a viable option. You're like, I gotta go get my force field, so at least I just take one, and that's the only thing I can tutor for an artifact, I guess, or Whir of Invention for it. I guess a word for it. Yeah, the Dark Depths, of course, we're gonna be taking those counters off with the Vampire Hexmage. Chains of Mephistopheles, though, interesting card. Couple available at the vendor's shop for $1,169. Showing here at $1,370. It must be more expensive on TCG Player. Maybe a few people on eBay have better copies of it. $1,000, $1,100, $1,000, $1,400. Hey, they're all right now. Turn them on now and let them walk them by. Anger Collections. How you doing, buddy? Yo, yo, yo. Salamat. Let's go. We got, thanks for joining the channel and the discussion here this morning. We're doing the movers and the shakers. We were just talking about Star Wars The Gathering. If those of you who are just tuning in, if you just checked out the chat, there's a link in the there's a link in the description. I've also got it over at the Brody Discord. We're talking about Star Wars The Gathering. It's May the 4th. There's a card gallery here. This is in no way affiliated with Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro or Lucasfilms. It's a fan-made site that's used for entertainment purposes, but they have paper, print at home card generator. They've also got I don't know if it's free. Is the print at home free? Yeah, I guess it is. PDFs. You just hit the thing and it'll give you a PDF. Huh. Go figure. So we're checking out Star Wars The Gathering. It's May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. And now we're going to our movers and the shakers here today. If you want to check out some Star Wars cards and print them for yourselves or play with your friends, do it. It's fun. The cards look good. We gave them a little taste test here this second breakfast. It was delicious. Lich card. This is another Enchanté. Enchanté, mon ami. Enchanted card. This is an enchantment. Creepy art on it. It's a card that I've seen in a showroom, and I purposely didn't ever want to look at it or buy it because of the creepiness of this art on it by Daniel Gellin. Also a card that I would always say, why am I ever going to play this? Like, I really got to be committed to mana, mono black, because this is like Obliterator mana. It's 4 of it, lots of it. A card that's on the reserve list. It's never been printed outside of Unlimited, but there's been more references to the Lich and the Lich King and the Liches. They're Lich cards. There's more Lich cards in the game now, but this is the first one, the first Lichiness. All right, let's check it out. As it enters the battlefield, you lose life equal to your life total. So your life total becomes 0. And then you don't lose the game for having 0 or less life. So it's a pretty cool enchantment that says, your life total don't matter. We're going to do it elsewhere. Then if you would gain life, you draw that many cards instead. Whenever you're dealt damage, sacrifice that many non-token permanents. If you can't, you lose the game. When Lich is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you lose the game. So this thing doesn't have hexproof. Like the new Lich's, what's the other one? Lich's thing? Lich's Mastery from Dominaria. This is another one, hexproof. You can't lose the game. Whenever you gain life, draw that many cards. Whenever you lose life, for each life you lose, exile a permanent you control or card from your hand or graveyard. When it leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. So Lich's Mastery, same thing, but it's got hexproof and it costs 3 colorless and 3 black. So 6 instead of 4. It's still good for black, but this is like the new age. This is like the new age Lich. Lich and Lich's Mastery. So we've seen it here first. Look at the art on it though, and I want to take a special care to look at the mana symbol. Now, I don't know why this is, but this is something that just catches my eye when I see it. You see how all these skulls here, they're like, there's like all the cards that I ever see have these lines. And I don't know why it is, but it's something to do with, like, this is the old black mana symbol, the Christopher Rush designed one. Since then, we've moved to this new mana symbol where the teeth are a little different, but this is the original mana symbol for black. And for some reason on this one, there's like a bleed that comes from each one of the color pips running downward like so. And I don't know why that is, but I see it. I can't help but notice it. I see it on all the printings of this card in Unlimited. Let's see if it's on the betas too. Zoom. It's not. Oh, it is. Look at that. It's on this one too. So maybe Mike, the alpha hoarder, somebody who has an alpha one, can look at theirs, see it on there. Yeah, it's on all printings of the card. And I don't know why. It was never fixed on this reserve list card. $572 for an alpha rare. Holy smokes. Like, there's something to be said for some of these alpha rares, okay? Like this one, okay, it's bad because if it leaves the battlefield, it's like you die, you're done, it's the game over, right? And it's not as good as Lich's Mastery, which costs $1. So that's got that problem going for it. But on the other side of things, some of these alpha rares, like it is an alpha card, you can pick it up for, see, the Unlimited is $272, the alpha is $500. And I think the alpha rares is only there's only, what's the print run on alpha rares, Hoarder? I think it's 1200 or 1300 rares in alpha. I think it is. There's only how many alpha rares are there in the whole print run? Regardless of how much expensive this card is at $500 in an alpha rare slot, it's like Kudza or Kudzu. This is another terrible alpha rare, and I hate to say that. It's like, it's not it's great because it's an alpha rare that you can, this one's 1,000 now. So Kudzu used to be actually not worth much of anything because play wise it's not very good, but it is an alpha rare. So you still have that 1,008 rares in alpha, but a few were released in beta starters. Okay, so that's the print run. It's related to the dot gain on the old printers. Ah, very cool. So like, thank you for commenting. Yeah, you notice it too, right? And it's like one of those things that it bugs me because I'm like, it's on all of them, right? But as regardless of the fact, like I can't say there's a such thing as a terrible alpha rare because there's only 1,008 of each of them roughly, right? So even if it's a crappy one, it's still a rare. There's still only 1,008 of them. There's not very many. The print run for Unlimited is a little higher, but I mean, Lich is not a greatly sought after card. Let's see if there's any decks playing it, and let's take a look at the chart on it. This one's like been trickling sideways. East-wester buy. That's what they call in the East Coast an east-wester. It's been traveling from here to here, sort of on this sideways plateau trajectory, and it's done it once before around here, and like this is when it started seeing a little price action around Ixalan, and then like typically like this thing looks like a plateau, a tabletop, something with like not a lot of volatility to it. It's not a card that's like people are buying and selling a lot of copies of this into the market on a regular basis. It's not volatile. It hasn't have a player use case behind it in a long time. In fact, let's see if there's any decks using it. Prosper the Tombbound. I think this is a card that you would want to give to your opponent. I mean, could you do that? How does that work? Let's see. Can you donate your Lich? Can you donate Lich to your opponent and just destroy it and have them lose the game? Maybe there's a way to put curses on it. But let's look Prosper Tombbound. The Tiefling little warlock, a 1/4 death touch with Mystic Cannon. At the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of your library until end of turn. Oh. This is like what's on the new Obnixial list. When they procs, you know, you get to do this. But this is at the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play that card. So this goes in the new Cat Oven deck. Pack Boon. Whenever you play a card from exile, create a treasure token. Lich is in here. What's it doing in here? I don't see it. I think they're joshing us here. They're giving us the old runaround, the old screwy dooey, right? Nothing. All right, there is one deck claims it's running it. Prosper Tombbound. Maybe you want a harmless offering it to your opponent. Maybe that's in here. Harmless offering? No. You find some prisoners. Bedevil. All right. Anybody got a better way to make this Lich mechanically sound? Because right now it's a $272 garbage playable reserve list staple. It's not playable, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have value, and it has very little play value. Doesn't mean it doesn't cost money. It doesn't mean it's not expensive. Doesn't mean it doesn't have a high price. $187 on TCG Player. The Volcanic Island. The revised copy is $774. This is the backbone, the bane of many multiple Magic the Gathering players. Bane of Commander is these dual lands, the original duals, and the self-fulfilling prophecy where these are on the reserve list. It's like the original dual land. They're just good the way they are, and they do everything you need in a Commander deck. They just tap for mana. They don't enter tapped. And like people will buy as many of these as possible, taking them off the open market. When Commander players just want to get these into their collection, I think proxying now more than ever is going to start to be an important part of the game. This card is 700 and change. So this one here that says the revised edition for $74. This is actually the third version of this. This is the third printing, right? Third edition, because it wasn't printed in alpha. It was printed in beta. Like here's an alpha card that you don't have. You can't get it. It doesn't exist in alpha. It was never printed. I think it was left off the print sheet. So that's why this card, it's like, people will be like, well, the black blue, the underground sea, or the UC, as some people call it. The underground sea is like the one everybody thinks should be the most expensive, but they don't know that that wasn't printed in alpha. So there's less of these. There's like 1,000 less. I think the betas, it was printed in beta, and I think it was printed unlimited and then in revised. So you got beta, unlimited, revised. That's it. There's no alphas. Who knew? It's a little more rare than all the rest of them, and that is another reason why it costs a little bit more. And it's also got that blue mana symbol in it, so any of the dual lands with blue, like this one, Tundra, Underground Sea, Volcanic Island, Tropical Island, all the ones that have blue in them are generally the most expensive. But I can't help but think that because this one's a little more rare is why it costs more. I think more people want to play in Dimir than they want to play with Izzet. Well, actually, I can't. Izzet players are going to be mad at me. All right. But the black-blue one is really expensive, and the Volcanic Island is usually edging out against it and trying to, like, they both sort of move together. If one goes up, the other one kind of is tethered to it. For some reason, they seem very comparable. Let's look at the Underground Sea. Underground Sea. Speaking of Underground Sea, have you seen the new Little Mermaid movie trailers? I'm not sure what they're doing with Sebastian. He looked more like a crab than a lobster to me. Under the Sea, Underground Sea, $1,500. That's the unlimited. Where is the revised copy? Revised. Alex's favorite set. Revised. $825. So this one's like just a little bit, $50 more for this one than the Volcanic Island. So is the Underground Sea just that much better? Because it's worth more than a card that's more rare? I don't know. But it seems to change when you get into the betas, because what's a beta Underground Sea? Beta C. Beta C. Whew, I don't even want to know. $5,999. What's a beta Volcanic? Beta Volcanic, first edition, $15,000. So this is where the Volcanic Island trumps the Underground Sea in the beta version. This is where it becomes really expensive because it's the first printing of it. 15 grand for the beta Volcanic. All right, in all other categories, the Underground Sea is better. If this is too expensive, start at the bottom. Get yourself a Plateau, the cheapest one. For some reason or another, I think it's all like 4 plateaus for an Underground Sea. Kind of gets you there, you know. When they say 13 turns in a Hangman's Noose, 4 plateaus in an Underground Sea, tipping and a tapping his way to me. Deck's using it. Let's take a look at the chart first. Let's see. This thing's been pretty stable. It hasn't really taken so much pitches. But if you're like if you're a fan of dual lands, it's something that you want to get your hands on. The ceiling price for this card is around $1,000. It hasn't really seen it go past. $1,000 is the ceiling level for this, no higher. Don't pay any more than that. It looks like it's got some pretty good support in and around the $700 mark where it is now. It's been up there, and then so if you got to have a ceiling, you got to have a floor. Otherwise, what's holding up your home, Brody? Yeah, it's good support here around the $700 and $750 mark. See, the reason like this card is such a sad case because all the dual lands are something that every commander player is going to want to have, and because they're so darn expensive, it's a deterrent to some people getting actually to play paper Magic, right? All right, let's keep going. Let's look at the decks using it. Izzet Delver, right? Okay, that's cool. Legacy Izzet Delver. That's totally cool. We're going to have more Delver decks. Awesome. We can't, because I think it's a conspiracy between the Delver decks and the Initiative decks. It was the whiny Delver players that complained that they kept losing to Initiative. That's why it got banned. I may or may not. That's my opinion, but maybe it was that good. I'm just a little salty because I never got to play the mono white Initiative deck. It's like one of those cards and one of those decks and those archetypes that as soon as you start putting it, it's like no sooner did I build my Uro deck that Uro got banned. And I'm like, what do? I'll just adopt Homeless Arrows and try and put them in a legacy deck. Can't play it in modern. All right, Dragon Rage Channeler. Like, are you getting sick of this deck, the Murktide Regent? This is the card that basically jumped the shark for Modern Horizons. Right? Modern Horizons jumped the shark with the Archons of Cruelty, and this one here, the Murktide Regent, essentially meaning if you're not playing Murktide, you're not playing a top-tier deck. Is It Delver of Secrets is back again on the back of the Murktide Regent, a card that's a 3/3, 7 mana. It delves and it enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each instant and sorcery card in your deck. You see where I'm going here? This thing gets big. It can get very large and in charge. So that's what you're casting these days in all the popular. That's what all the cool kids are casting these days with the Volcanic Island. Blue Tinker, yes, vintage. Blue Tinker, of course. Tinker time. You know what I find about the Tinker deck? We talk about shells of decks, right? Like you got the Affinity Shell became Hardened Scales. You got the Blue Tinker deck. Every time there's a new set that comes out with another powerful artifact, I think it's like people test it to see if they could throw it in the Tinker deck. It's like, is it good in Tinker? New artifact, the Mightstone and the Meekstone. Is it good in Tinker? Ooh, Godpharaoh's Gift. Is it good in Tinker? OG Delver art is better than the mid Delver. Benson, thank you. Thank you for that. The mid Delver. You like the OG Delver. So Esper Tinker. Tinker time. Whenever there's what are we tinkering for in this one? The Black Lotus. Bolus's Citadel. Yeah, Tinker for the Citadel. And that's really backbreaking. It is. I lost a Tinker at MagicCon 30. In Vintage. I did. I lost a Blue Tinker and they tinkered for the Citadel. It's really darn good. What else we got? Lich, Volcanic Island, Stasis. This card's really cool. I always like playing it. Why does people stop playing the Stasis deck? There's a Turbo Stasis deck. There's a Stasis Lock deck. It's like, this is one of the original decks in Magic the Gathering that like really was backbreaking and unexpected. Like people didn't expect people to make suppressive decks like this one. 2 mana for the Stasis. What is it legal in? Not legal in Modern. Bring back Stasis. I'm telling you. I say make Stasis great again. Massa, make Stasis great again. All right, let's see here. 2 mana for the artifact. It costs 1 blue and 1. It enters the battlefield. It says nobody gets an untapped step. Sorry, can't do it. You know, this would be pretty good with Urza, Lord High Artificer, the one that makes all your mana artifacts tap for a blue. Artifacts you control tap for a blue, the Urza Lord High, and then you want to play it with something like a Seedborn Muse. So nobody gets an untapped step, but you want to play stuff like maybe the Prophet of Krufix is banned now, but the Seedborn Muse would do it for you. Maybe Dramatic Reversal or something that can untap stuff, put it on an Isochron Scepter. Something that untaps all your mana rocks. Or all now with Urza Lord High, you want to put something in there with... You're alive during the waking time, Tortoise. Nice. Yeah, we want to put something in there that untaps all your artifacts. And if you got the Urza Lord High, then they tap for blue. You don't have any problems paying the blue during your upkeep. So you can keep paying it. This is like this. I think this was like the advent of cumulative upkeep, because every turn that went by, if you just played a natural Stasis, you don't get to untap. So it's like you got to hit each land drop and then you're tapping it. And then really be careful of how many things you tap. Right? It taps all creatures don't untap too. So legal in Legacy, legal in Vintage, Commander, Brawl, Historic. Card like Bolus, the Citadel gets around this. Let's take a look at the chart on it. Stasis was expensive at one time? What are we going? Unlimited edition Stasis? Was there a return of Stasis back around Modern Horizons? Modern Horizons 2 and the Adventures in Forgotten Magic, Adventures in Forgotten Realms. Grand Arbiter Augustine is playing it. Let's check out the Grand Arbiter. Augustine the Fourth, Lel Cuatro. Augustine Grand Arbiter Le Cuatro. Grand Arbiter says white spells cost 1 less. Your blue spells you cast cost 1 less, and spells your opponents cast cost 1 more. That is suppression, oppression. There's all types of oppression coming from this deck. Let's see, Archivist of Ogma. Whenever an opponent searches, you gain a life and draw a card. That's a good card. Does it have flash on it? It does. Archivist of Ogma, Ledger Shredder, Pure Steel Paladin, Stoneforge Mystic, Wall of Omens, Montessori Mentor, Displacer Kitten. The Kitten's good. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, exile target non-land permanent you control, then return to the battlefield under his owner's control, so you can blink the stasis. Maybe you can blink the stasis. Silent Arbiter. Is this like a stacks deck? It seems stacky. And then the Sun Titan to blow up more lands. Joy. Zur the Enchanters run it. Brea the Ethereum Shaper. Where's Estrid the Mast? Demir deck. All these commander cards. Actually, a lot of commander decks playing stasis. Card Kingdom's got it for sold out. Maybe you got to go to Anger Collections over on TCG Player and find it there. Good games in limited games, kitchen table games. Whoops. Wrong button. Mauvaise bouton. TCG Player. All right, what else we got here? Stasis, Turbo Stasis. Let's look at, there's got to be a better deck using it. Stasis. Let's go search. Formats. Any. Card. Stasis. You'll lose a lot of viewers over this one. Nobody likes Stasis. They're going to say, Brody, that card's terrible. Pre-modern. Actually, it's in pre-modern. Klub Top Deck. Yeah, there's Stasis decks. Pre-modern CDH Legacy. Stasis mid-range. January 8th. Second place. From 93rd games. How many people playing it? Stasis mid-range? Oh yeah, it's playing the Underground Sea, the Volcanic Island, Snapcaster, Shoulder, the Apocalypse. Force of Will. I see a Time Twister on there. 3 copies of Stasis. Ral Zarek? Really? Little Ral. Tap target permanent, then untap another target permanent. Oh, his +1's really good. He lets you untap stuff. Teferi the Time Raveler. Okay. Until next turn, return up to 1 target artifact, creature, or enchantment to owner's hand, so you can just bounce the Stasis. And then recast it. What are we doing here? And then you draw a card. Disgusting. All right, before everybody loses their mind talking about Stasis, excuse moi. Let's head down the movers and the shakers here. One more card. Berserk. Volcanic Island is on there. Tropical Island. Elvish Archers. This is a good card. But we can't talk about that until we talk about Berserk. Why is this card so darn good? This was the flagship of turn 1 combo kills at one point. Maybe not. There was Channel Fireball, and then there was a deck that ran this. And I'm not talking about Channel Fireball like the website. I'm talking about playing Channel for 2 green on turn 1 and then casting Fireball for 20. That was one way to do it, but then once they decided that, you know, I think your life total going to 0 checks, and you can't very well Channel Fireball your way to victory so much anymore, this became an option. 1 green, cast a spell only before combat damage. Step, target creature gains trample and plus XO until end of turn, where X is power. At the beginning of your end step, destroy that creature if it attacked this turn. So it dies. But what does it do for you? The old wording is better, because like this gets plus X plus 0 until end of turn, where X is its power. And they're like, oh, well, what's its power? Why doesn't it just say double it like the old wording does? Okay, until end of turn, target creature's power doubles. And it gains trample. Why can't you say that? Why does it have to gain? See you later. See you later, Mike. Thanks for stopping in, buddy. May the 4th be with you. The ultimate is backbreaking with up to 5 free turns on Ral Zarek, right? Okay, so this card really good. So then you double it. So you know, in Gruul, we didn't call it Gruul, we call it Red Green back then. But you would run the Ball Lightning, right? So you're like Ball Lightning. This was this is actually still a deck. I think you can still play this. legal in vintage. This 6/1 trampler. Yeah, you're going to be trying to cast this ball lightning for 0, right? So you go ball lightning off your black lotus, ball lightning, and then you want to drop a forest and a mox ruby and a mox emerald, and then you can cast bloodlust. And they put this put the bloodlust on there, give it +4 -4 until end of turn, so it becomes a 10/1 with trample, and then somebody uses a prodigal sorcerer and just ruins your day, and because it's only got 1 toughness. Okay, let's keep going down the movers in the shaker list. Berserk on the list, $150 for the. See, this is another interesting card. I just got to touch on this for a bit. It didn't get a reprint until we got, like, I think From the Vault, right? Or was it Conspiracy? It didn't get a reprint for the longest time. People were thinking, like, it was one of those cards where it was pseudo on the reserve list. Like, it wasn't on the reserve list, but Wizards never printed it. And then, till they did. And now we've got all kinds of it. It's actually, you can, how much is the From the Vault? From the Vault is $27. It's also in a secret lair for $24. So it's been reprinted enough times so that people can get it. Other than that, it was holding really good long term, but now it's just another reprintable in a special set, reprint equity. But it's actually been as high as $226. What's the alpha version worth? That's the expensive one. $95 on TCG Player. $900. It's an uncommon. Holy goodness. It's not a rare. I thought it was I did think it was a rare, actually. Dan Fraser art is looking pretty good. This one, the alpha version, oh my gosh. 400, 340. It's been as high as 1900. Ay. Ay caramba, mama gusta. It's $1,000. OMG, that's crazy. Okay. A guy can dream, can he? Can I dream about going berserk? Elvish Archers. Really cool card by Anson Maddox. And it's strange to me that if you go to the Anson Maddox Twitter page, he only has like 150 followers. It doesn't have that many. Let's go check out. Let's say hi to Anson Maddox. Anson Maddox lives in Las Vegas, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we're following him. 275 followers. Let's tweet Anson Maddox. Why not? Let's tell him, hey. Nice work on the Elvish Archers. Two one. All right, we got the Elvish Archers. This one was supposed to cost more. It's a 2/1 first strike. Like, it's 1 green and 1. And it's an elf. Or they are elves. And it's a 2/1 and it's got first strike, and it was supposed to be 1 green and 2. People were going berserk waiting for the reprint. We were, right? We were totally going berserk. Where's the reprint on berserk? Then we got it. Elvish Archers. All right. 1993. This is the OG. Good card. $71. I know it was reprinted and revised, so you can also get it with this art for $2.37. Pretty great card, if you ask me. It was supposed to cost a little bit more, meaning like a green and 2 mana. I think it was supposed to be a 3 cast, but some reason the 1 was a 2, or the 2 became a 1, and we got a really good first striking elf for 2 mana. Awesome card. This thing also kills ball lightning. Just like that. Like, it's the ultimate blocker against ball lightning. It'll kill it all day long. So there's that, which makes it really good. It's $71. It's been reprinted plenty of times, but it is an elf. It is naturally got first strike built right into it. It's cheap to cast. It's a good card. And Lake of the Dead. Now somebody is telling me, who was telling me they're collecting 20 sets of alliances? Who was that? Are you in the stream today? Somebody chatted me that. They're like, they're collecting like 10 sets of alliances or 20 sets of alliances. So they're They're looking for all the Lakes of the Dead that they can get, because this is like sort of one of the bigger hitters of the whole Alliance's set. It's on the reserve list, and it's crazy. This thing was like, what? When it came out, people thought it was really, really good, but it turns out, it can be quite taxing on your mana pool. It can cast you a Jessamine Djinn. If it would enter the battlefield, you got to sacrifice a swamp. So just like the Soldevi Excavation, and people nowadays complain about WotC's quality control. So this card was like the Soldevi, the Balduvian Trading Post, or the Caldoran Outpost. It's the black one that had to enter and you had to sacrifice a land, right? It was like, you can have this great land, but you got to sacrifice a land to play it, of the color pips that it works with. Okay, so what do we get when we sacrifice a land for black? Holy smokes, it taps for black, fine. You got to tap that swamp on its way out, and then here's the thing. If you don't sack a swamp, it goes to the graveyard. This thing just taps for black, so that's cool. You tap it and sack a swamp to add 4 black. What? So yeah, you got to sack a swamp. So the best you can do is like make 6 mana on turn 2. Turn 3? Yeah. Turn 3, you can make 6 mana. You got your 3rd land drop. You got to tap your swamp, play this, sacrifice the one you just tapped, and then sack the other one for 4 more. So 5 mana on turn 3, I guess is what it does for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then tap the one 5 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 mana. Yeah, tap, sacrifice the other swamp. Always tap and then sacrifice. I'm Brody Alfonso. Always tap and then sacrifice. All right. Yeah, so this was Black Ramp, and this was before we had Crucible of Worlds or Ramanap Excavator or any of the cards that allowed us to play lands from our graveyard. So lands going to the bin was kind of a permanent thing. The only way to get them back was to use the shuffle ability of this card right here, Feldon's Cane. Does anybody remember how awesome this card was? And you had to play it in your deck, otherwise decks and games that went wrong would potentially deck yourself out. This was the only way to get stuff back. It really was, unless you had Time Twister and you were using that to reshuffle your graveyard into your library. Feldon's Cane was the only way to do it. 1 mana artifact, Chronicles, everybody was like, yes, we get to get our Feldon's Cane and reshuffle all our sacrificed lands back into our deck and draw them again. That will be excellent. Oh boy, how we've come so far. We now have Crucible of Worlds, Ramanap Excavator. This guy, for 1 mana, remove Feldon's Cane from the game. That's the way they said exile back in the day. They used a bunch of words to do it, and it sounded really cool. Remove it from the game. No! You remove this from the game, and then you shuffle your graveyard and your library. Shuffle, haha. And then you actually, a lot of games went to out of cards back in the day. A lot of games went long and ended up in a stalemate, and then it was whoever decks out loses. That's sort of, the way that things went. Lake of the Dead, again, you run out of swamps. That kind of sucks. The Feldon's Cane was the way to do it. Of course, you want to be decks running this. Who's running it? Who's running that? Lake of the Dead. Lake of the Dead. Let's see. Lake of the Dead's been as high as $350. It's a reserve list. It's also been a target. It's sitting at around $100 now, running down to about $98. You can pick it up. Crick the Son of Yawgmoth. Of course, the mono black decks are running it. Does this have Obliterator in it? I want to see. Crick the Son of Yawgmoth. This is the one that allows you to pay life rather than black mana. For each life you pay, for each 2 life you pay, you can add a discount of a black on there. Villis, Broker of Blood. This is an 8 mana 8/8. Flying, pay 2 life. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Whenever you lose life, draw that many cards. That's pretty good. All right, Lake of the Dead, last one for the day, the Howling Mine. Let's check it out. At the beginning of each player's draw step, if it's untapped, that player draws an additional card. I got to mention it again here. I always mention this card when we talk about Icy Manipulator, but why not mention Relic Barrier? Relic Barrier was another card that we got in Legends, and then we're like, when are we going to get a reprint on Relic Barrier? It's not on the reserve list. Boom, then we did get it. Sort of like the Berserk, we got it in 5th Dawn. It's cheap in the 5th Dawn. It's not worth a whole lot, but the Relic Barrier costs 2, and you could tap your Howling Mine to turn it off. during your opponent's turn. Earlier in the stream, we were talking about Chains of Mephistopheles and card draw action, extra card draw. This turns off the Howling Mine. Howling Mine is... Where are we playing this? Urza Lord High. Then it makes it Howling Mine tap for blue. Holy smokes. If you play the Urza Lord High and Howling Mine, you get to draw extra cards, and then it taps for blue, making it even better. Shoulder the Apocalypse is using it. Nekuzar the Mind Razor is using it. Kianios, the Tiro of Miletus. 219 bucks. Interesting. Have you folks heard of Star Wars The Gathering? We're checking it out here today too. And then I got one more article for you folks to look at here on the Modern Times. Modern Times with Corey Williams. Corey's back with another installment of Modern Times. We're looking at cards and we're talking about the ones that stand out and are worth a little bit of discussion. 2 relevant modern staples and 1 older format staple that hits lows once through the impossible. Let's dive in. We want to talk about Ragavan here today. Oh, that little pesky monkey. Pesky little monkey. This guy, the nimble pilferer, stealing all people's stuff. People were berserk going for reprint. All right, I want to talk about this. I knew it would be only a matter of time until we would write an article with Ragavan in front and center, given its reprinted March of the Machine multiverse. It seems now like a good time as ever to discuss this goofy little monkey whose presence in Modern cannot be understated. Originally released in Modern Horizons 2, Ragavan has been a poster child of Modern as a format since it was spoiled, and as formats defined by the power level of the creature base, Ragavan is a perfectly good testament to what separates the deck building and the gameplay in Modern from other Eternal formats. The pesky little monkey. Being a mainstay in almost every deck that puts blue or red in the format, it's unlikely that anything short of banning this card will ever diminish the prevalence, the pervasiveness. There's this pervasive little monkey. Anything short of banning it will not diminish the pervasiveness of Ragavan's presence in the game. Simultaneously, it's impossible to imagine a more pushed 1-mana creature ever being printed in the format, although WotC never is short of surprises. So, I hate to tell you, if you have a chance, please go and watch the How Good Was Savannah Lions video that I made. It's a good one. We compared that to Ragavan. Savannah Lions is strictly better in old school because Ragavan's not legal. So this was a super pushed card. You're right. If you're not familiar with it, if you're new to Ragavan, if you've been living under a rock somewhere and you haven't seen the monkey, the 1-mana monkey, legendary creature that's a pirate, and it says, whenever Ragavan deals combat damage to a player, you get to create a treasure token and exile the top card of that player's library until end of the turn you may cast that card. You can dash it out for 1 and 1 and hit with it, and stop talking about the monkey. There's 1,000,001 forms of removal and answers to it. Yes, everyone's complaining about the monkey. So for over a year now, Ragavan was valued at a tight range of $75 to $80, which at times made it the most valuable single card in the format. However, the recent printing of the bonus print sheets, Multiverse Legends, has incorporated directly into the March of the Machine's print run, making accessibility to the card expectedly higher, and the original thought, coupled with the fact that Modern Horizons 2 packs are ever increasing, the surge in supply and increase in the share of decks like Teamer Rhinos in the format meta, which is one of the few decks not to be used Ragavan, and has pushed the market value of this card around the $55 mark. Given the freshness of March of Machines, it's likely that the supply of this little guy will continue to climb, subsequently pushing down the market price further. Stop talking about the monkey. Don't ban it, just learn to beat it. That's cute. Yawgmoth the Thran Physician. Let's just head on over to the Physician's deck. Step on up here, Physician Brody. Yawgmoth was a quintessential big bad and the original Magic the Gathering storyline back in the early 90s and all the way through the mid 2000s. Yawgmoth was the nemesis of all Magic good. It was until Modern Horizons that the larger than life character was given life inside the card form. Ironically, it was in a direct to modern set rather than a direct to legacy or direct to commander set. Again, WotC never fails to surprise us. The backstory notwithstanding is that Yawgmoth is fun and interesting card that people spend years on trying to build around, and it wasn't until recently that Yawgmoth found a home in Modern in a toolbox style deck that feels like a marriage between an aristocrat style and pod style deck. Most recently at the grand opening qualifier in Prague, Golgari Yawgmoth landed 10th place overall in the event, even where Is It Murktide had once had its weakness against it, showing that it didn't even place a top 10 finish. Is this the flippy guy? Is he flippy? Hey, Yawgmoth, are you flippy? Let me ask you something. Are you flipping, Yawgmoth? Let's read a little bit more about this card, because it was last October that we saw Yawgmoth around the $40 mark, and recent printings and Dominaria Remastered of Yawgmoth have fallen to an affordable rate of $17 to $20. In the aggregate, Yawgmoth only encompasses roughly 3% of the meta compared to Temur Rhinos and Murktide, which are over 10% each. These stats aside, the upward potential of Yawgmoth style decks in Modern is enormous. Enormous, Brody. Go to any Modern Reddit or Discord community and you may find dedicated Yawgmoth optimizers and fans. The deck takes chops to play and it steps a steep learning curve. It's incredibly rewarding, resilient, consistent, and these qualities I would expect its share in the meta to continue to grow, making Yawgmoth a really attractive pickup right now while the price is at an all-time low. And Aether Vial. Maybe because I started playing Modern during the reign of Splinter Twin, but in my heart, there's always a special place for the cards that I remembered being ridiculously expensive back in the day that have since fallen onto hard times and out of favor in the current meta. My first article in MTG Stocks, Corey was talking about Dark Confident, Snapcaster Mage, and Tarmogoyfi. Reality is that there are many myriads of interesting staples that have hit an all-time low with no one batting an eye at them. Another old gem of that worth discussing today is Aether Vial. For years after, Aether Vial was a $40 card that was a staple in many Modern decks and Legacy decks, notably Elves, Merfolk, and Death and Taxes. True Name Nemesis plays it, but totally with the Elemental cycle in Modern Horizons. Two prints, along with the non-tribal powerhouses like Ragavan and Ledger Shredder. Tribal decks in Modern have been pushed to the margins, coupled with waning legacy participation in MTG. Cards like Aether Vial have largely fallen off the radar and to the wayside. As of writing this article, Aether Vial has hit an all-time low of $10. And if you ask me whether this was possible years ago or even after its printing in Double Masters 2022, I would have said that you were crazy. In a way, I'm both happy and sad to be wrong, and being able to pick up at least a playset of Aether Vials for $40 is amazing and terrific, especially since a single Aether Vial once sold for that much. At that same time, it signals that it's a hard shift in Modern favoring since the recent innovations in Magic the Gathering coming to a direct-to-modern sets like Modern Horizons 1 and 2, as well as power crept staples, standard sets like Throne of Eldraine and Ikoria Lair of the Behemoths. Aether Vial is definitely worth grabbing at its current price, and for those that play tribal Modern decks, which still see some play, however, it's important to highlight that the price movements and the strong declines in the card like Aether Vial signal a different future for speculation and investment. In the Modern format, where you take Aether Vial's recent decline as a good deal or a cautionary tale, it's up to you to decide. It's either way you go. Aether Vial took a really big hit. Yes, Aether Vial took a large turd. Aether Vial is a prima card. It's a prima card. So who you card? So this isn't prima card. That's some prima card. let's look ahead for a minute with Corey Williams, because one of the most appealing features of Modern is that it's eternal format with a strong base of players and a large card pool and cards on the reserve list. There are none of them. Being able to pull from the original Mirrodin block and to build decks all the way to 2023 is awesome, but the format has grown in popularity and so powerful. The power level has been pushed, and the mechanics that are reflected in recent sets along growing the skews that are geared towards Modern specifically. One could titulely argue out with the old, in with the new, which is somewhat of an underlying theme in most Modern finance articles. Across the Magic the Gathering finance community, however, this title seems to be a bit cliche, and it implies that speculating on these older staples are futile, with most price variation in Modern staples manifesting themselves in the most powerful and new cards in the format. We talked about that jumping the shark with Modern Horizons 2 and the rotation of cards that were once good and are now underwhelming. That's what we get to deal with. This is how Wizards will continue to act like a vacuum cleaner and get into players' wallets, because without buying the new stuff, they just can't compete anymore. Bloop of Isle of Goodness. One interesting caveat to this is that the price movements aren't coming directly from the fact that these cards are overtly powerful. Rather, they're coming from the power level of the decks themselves. Modern has one of the most fluid and open metas across Magic the Gathering format, so the value of these older staples are in the same way with the value of the powerhouses of the format, in that they are directly tied to the share of a given deck that plays the card in the meta itself. Looking ahead, it's almost advisable to speculate on what cards you believe in and what will make up a larger share of the format itself. Invest in the staples for those decks, and for example, if you're a Yawgmoth, if you're paying attention to that, given that Yawgmoth's growing potential in the metagame is investing in a piece of support, that a deck like Dryad Arbor and Ignoble Hierarch are almost as good as investing in as Yawgmoth himself. On the flip side, should decks like Merfolk also continue to gain traction in Modern metagame, I'd expect to see cards like Aether Vial also climb with it. Corey Williams, fourth-year economics PhD candidate at West Virginia University in Morgantown, West Virginia, considers himself a macroeconometrician, with his research reflecting in his work applied macroeconomics, time series economics, and non-parametric econometrics. Corey is a level 1 judge who started playing Magic around 8th edition and enjoys a Modern Commander and CEDH cube draft. Outside of Magic, loves running and the occasional cult movie. Thanks, Corey. Appreciate you. Shout out to you. Hey, I actually wrote Corey a little while ago. He did get back to me. I talked to him about some of his articles that he ran. It was nice to connect with you there. Rating on here today. This will be the last thing that we do today. No, we're going to sing. Just kidding. Modern Times by Corey Williams on the stock desk. This is Brody Alfonso. I want to thank you all for joining me. Thanks. It's May the 4th be with you. May your hammer be mighty. May the 4th be with you. May your lightsaber be cutty and smashy and stronger than any dark saber out there. Thank you for joining us here on this May the 4th second breakfast edition. Enjoy your afternoon, folks. Have a great day, and we'll talk again tomorrow. Yes. Let's see here. How do you unlock doors on Kashyyyk with a Wookiee? What do you call Chewbacca when he got chocolate stuck in his fur? A chocolate chip Wookiee? And what's a Jedi's favorite toy? A Yo-Yoda. Oh, these are terrible. Gotta be something different. Oh. What do you call a nervous Jedi? Panakin Skywalker. All right, I gotta go. Gotta go get some presents for a birthday party. By the way, how did Darth Vader know what Luke was getting for his birthday? He felt his presence. Get out of here. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Have a nice day. This is Brody, Alfonso at the stock desk. Gotta go. The Pinkertons are at the door. They're on to us. We're having too much fun. Let's get this fun into your collection. If you don't like tracking the prices of Magic cards, let me do it for you. I'm doing it each and every day on Monday through Friday on the morning show with Brody, Morning Stocks and Talks. Chat